Close your eyes and listen. What do you hear? In the movies, it's the crack of a whip and the screams of exhausted slaves. But the reality of Giza in 2500 BC sounded very different. It sounded like a massive, rhythmic heartbeat. The thud of copper on stone, the chanting of thousands of men in unison, the smell of roasting meat and fresh-baked bread carried on a dry desert wind. You have been told the Great Pyramid was a monument to tyranny, but for the man waking up on a reed mat today, it was something else entirely. It was the ultimate public works project. It was a chance to escape the cycle of poverty and enter a sacred brotherhood. Today, we're stepping into the sandals of Nakht, a commoner from a small village down the Nile. He isn't a prisoner, he's a specialist. He's a friend of Khufu, and his life, filled with elite rations, high-tech medicine, and brutal physical labor, will change everything you think you know about the ancient world. Let's look at the side of the Nile they never showed you in school.
Nakht's journey didn't start in the desert. It started in the mud. Every year, the Nile would rise, flooding the fields for months. For a farmer, this was a season of forced idleness, unless the king called. This wasn't slavery, it was a labor tax known as corvée. In exchange for his labor, Nakht's family would receive tax breaks and grain during the lean months. It was a contract between the people and their god-king.
As Nakht travels north on a papyrus barge, he sees it for the first time, the horizon of Khufu. It isn't a finished monument yet. It's a jagged, rising mountain of golden stone, swarming with thousands of men like ants on a hill. Massive mud brick ramps snake around its sides, and the air is thick with the white dust of 1,000 hammers. It looks alien. It looks impossible.
As he steps off the boat at the port of Giza, he isn't met by guards with chains, but by bureaucrats with papyrus scrolls. He is assigned to a file, a gang of 20 men. They give themselves a name, the Vigorous Ones. They are now his family, his co-workers, and his brothers-in-arms for the next 3 months.
Nakht doesn't sleep in a tent in the sand. He lives in the lost city of the builders. This was a planned city with streets, bakeries, and even a massive central canteen. But here is the real shocker. The diet. While his family back home eats mostly bread and beer, Nakht is being fed like a professional athlete. Archaeologists found that enough cattle, sheep, and goats were slaughtered here daily to feed 10,000 men prime cuts of meat. Why? Because you cannot move 2.5-ton blocks on an empty stomach. The pharaoh knew that a well-fed worker is a loyal worker. Nakht spends his evenings in a bustling metropolis. He drinks thick, nutritious beer that is more like a sourdough soup. He visits the local doctor, a man who can set a broken arm with a wooden splint so perfectly that 4,000 years later we can still see the healed bone. We have found skeletons of workers who survived leg amputations and even brain surgeries. In a world where a simple infection could kill, the pyramid builders had access to the best medical care on the planet. They were the NASA engineers of the Bronze Age. It's shocking how much of this history was hidden under the slave myth for centuries. If you're enjoying this deep dive into the real lives of the ancients, hit that subscribe button and join our community. We're uncovering the hidden side of history every week, and you won't want to miss our next journey into the shadows of the past. Now, back to the dust and the heat, because Nakht's shift is just beginning.
The sun isn't even up when the vigorous ones reach the limestone quarry. The heat is already a physical weight. Nakht's job is the most dangerous, the extraction. Imagine trying to cut through solid rock without iron or steel. Nakht uses a copper saw, but copper is soft. It dulls in minutes. The secret? Sand. He pours wet sand into the groove, and as he pulls the saw back and forth, the sand acts like thousands of tiny teeth grinding through the stone. It takes days of back-breaking rhythmic motion just to free a single block. The dust fills his lungs. The sweat turns his linen kilt into a heavy, wet rag. Then comes the transport. The vigorous ones grab the ropes. There are no wheels here. Wheels would sink into the sand. Instead, they use massive wooden sledges.
One man stands at the front of the sledge, pouring water onto the sand.
This reduces friction by half. On the count of 3, they pull. It's a primal scream of collective effort. The block groans, it shudders, and then it slides. If one man trips, the sledge could crush him. If the rope snaps, the vigorous ones fall like dominoes. But when they reach the base of the pyramid and watch the next crew take over, there is a surge of adrenaline. They aren't just moving stone, they are defying gravity.
At the top of the ramp, Nacht watches the master masons. This is where labor turns into art. These men use plumb bobs and A-frame levels to ensure the stones are perfectly squared. The precision is terrifying. The Great Pyramid is aligned to true north within 3/60ths of a degree. Nacht touches the limestone. It's smooth as silk. The casing stones are fitted so tightly that you couldn't slide a strand of hair between them. There is no mortar, no glue, only the perfect friction of stone on stone. As the years pass, Nacht returns to Giza again and again. He sees the pyramid grow. He sees the golden capstone, the benben, being prepared. He realizes that he is part of something that will outlive his children, his grandchildren, and the very memory of his village. He isn't a cog in a machine, he is a pillar of the universe. In his mind, every stone he pulls is another step the pharaoh takes toward the stars. And as long as the pharaoh lives in the afterlife, Egypt and Nacht's family will be safe.
The project ends. The white casing is polished for the last time. Nacht is an old man now, his back bent and his hands scarred by decades of limestone. He returns to his farm for the last time. When he dies, he's buried in a modest tomb within sight of the Giza Plateau. In his grave, his family places a small jar of beer and a loaf of bread. They know that when the pharaoh rises to the stars, he will look back and see the vigorous ones waiting for him. Today, the white limestone is gone, stolen by later kings to build mosques and palaces. The gold capstone is lost to history, but Nacht's work remains. We look at the pyramids and think of kings, but the stones themselves tell a different story. They tell the story of the common man. They tell the story of a civilization that didn't build with slaves, but with a united, well-fed, and brilliant workforce. The Great Pyramid is the tomb of a pharaoh, yes, but it is the monument of the worker. And as long as it stands, Nacht is immortal, and so are we. The story of the pyramids is vast, and we've only just begun to scratch the surface of how these ancient civilizations truly lived. If there's a specific mystery of Egypt or another lost empire you want us to deconstruct next, tell me in the comments below. I read every single one. Thank you for walking through the sands of time with me today. Make sure your notifications are on, because our next journey is going to be even more legendary. I'll see you in the next story.